Blessings to you this day, Pastor Rob, with Talks from the Chair. I wanted to speak for a moment here about the matter of talking to someone who is stupid and unwilling to even reason with you. The Bible calls that kind of a person a fool. A fool in the English comes from the Hebrew word nabal, which means worthless person. A person who has no interest in what is right and wrong, interest in the truth, interest in other people. They are self-consumed and foolish in their outlook on life. They are stupid. They are imbecilic. And it's amazing when we realize someone is that way. We pick up on it fairly quickly, whether we're talking to them in person or online, whatever it might be, on the phone. It's amazing how we will continue to go on and on with these people at times and argue with them. But what is the point to that? So I want to ask you a question, and you can think about it. Why is it that you continue to talk and argue with foolish people? Why do we do this? Well, sometimes we want to win our argument. We want to make our point, and we're determined to do that. And we go on and on and on. We get into these online discussions. We go back and forth with people on Facebook or whatever it might be. And we're determined to try to get our point across. And of course, we see this great political polarity and divide in our country, with one side and the other side going at each other, trying to persuade the other, but to no avail. The Bible says this in Proverbs. In Proverbs, in the Old Testament, the middle of the Bible, has a lot to say about fools and their folly. It says in the 26th chapter of Proverbs, verses 4 and 5, "Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him yourself. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes." Now that almost sounds as though it's encouraging us and enjoining us to talk to these kinds of people. Actually, quite the contrary. It's saying if you talk to these kinds of imbecilic people, given enough time, you're going to become foolish yourself. They will have an effect on you, a pejorative, negative effect on you, if you're not careful. You have to be careful to intentionally limit and set boundaries on your time with such individuals, because otherwise you're going to be contaminated with their twisted, perverse thinking. Now you can say, well, that doesn't sound very loving. That's just very practical, and Proverbs is all about practical advice, words of wisdom. The second verse I mentioned there, 26:5, says, "Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes." The very fact that he keeps you going, that she continues to bring you into her drama and conversation, that's what we call it nowadays, right? Drama, melodrama. The more we're sucked into the melodrama and we don't set any limits on it, the happier they are. They've got you now. And you see, this is a mistake that we make, which brings on so much grief in our own lives. We are caught in the melodrama of other people. Now, I'm not saying anything surprisingly new, but sometimes we simply need to be reminded of these basic and obvious facts, that it is a waste of time to argue with a fool. What do when I find myself in these kinds of situations? I seem to get into it more with people online. I will present my position and they will counter, and vice versa. Not to be deliberately and intentionally argumentative, but I will present my thoughts and my ideas, and they will present theirs. And if it's a healthy dialogue, I will continue on with it. But after 2 or 3 times, I realize they're just wanting to pick a fight. They're not open to reason. They're not rational. Then I let it go and I try to draw it to a nice close. Sometimes, in extreme cases, of course, you even have to block people, or you just cannot be around them hardly at all. You really have to, again, set limits on things. I want to encourage you then today and remind myself, even as I talk, that we have to be wise in our dealings with other people. And we have to set proper limits with certain individuals who just seem to be closed to God, closed to truth, trying to twist truth and making it into something they want it to be, which it is not, who refuse to look at reality. I have to limit myself to that, and so do you. And as we do, we'll find ourselves in a much more peaceful place. We'll be a much more happier individual, a lot less stress when we don't get into the mud and rolling over and over with those who are, again, of small mind. So, blessings to you. Have a great day today.